No, that's my ring.
All right, everyone. Thanks for showing up to this demo debate. Wait, where are you going to college? You're going to Cal, and you're going to Northwestern. All right. On the affirmative, we have Emmiee, formerly of the Harker School, and now going to Berkeley. And on the negative, we have Nirmal, formerly of Lexington High School, now going to Northwestern. They're going to have a good old throwdown, LARP, hedge debate, or whatever the heck this is supposed to be. So start reading the one I see.
Okay. You're good? I have resolved the non-therapeutic use of human enhancement technologies is immoral. If you want me to defend a ban asking cross-examination the standards, maximizing respect well-being is consecutive, spend the case, maximizing well-being is the theory of the good and utils, axiomatic control, balance, and students well-being here's 10. Moral contradictions of facts for thoughts, behaviors, and consequential questions about counter experience, about without experience, of talk about and the consequential quantities, very finished, moral uncertainty means response preventing extinction and any ethical frame of 11. Moral uncertainty, moral uncertainty means response to valid preserving our beliefs, recognize valid achieving uses, prevent any of such catastrophe. Has put societal pressure on parents to create desire, baby, food, package, eugenics, fair 7. Those are programs that significant harms to their parents and parents, so treat the best for child, in society, parents should children, and parents, the community, expect from programs, community, they expect parents to generate negative knowledge to the rest of the community. Their advantage of being enhanced there must be a cause involved in being a normal human being. It has to endorse prejudice, beliefs, that leads to oppression and marginalized bodies. Tutor 7. Neogen, terms of prejudice and stereotypes of different groups of morning text of what avoids traits to divide the impediment to the trait or social awareness and disable community prejudice and research and equality of life only researchers can selectively contribute to the fact of tolerance and enhance existing prejudice against individuals with particular traits. Such attitudes reinforce the prejudice that drove people to against these traits independently, hence further to divide between the rich and poor sample of routine. Human enhancement may be accessible to the rich, leading to a study more including before medicine moving onwards is surprising the norms to help people with longer and stronger memories from greater than no alternative projects and elite project upgrades become available with recently widening the gap between rich and poor rising inequality massively increase the likelihood of context. Steward 2. This consists of evidence in equality between groups in conflict hence towards social balance rather than seeking to resolve difference in negotiation equality more likely to the conflict with substantial persistent increasing over time through suffering equality seek access to a certain group interest economic studies shows that incidence of conflict is higher among countries with low income distribution environments and poverty communities associated with conflict restrictions and people forms of balance they seek alternatives desperate stretch and hedge. We are on the brink of having super soldiers show treasure after the US is investing mass money now to develop exoskeletons and plants and other heads for the military. This card is 1 week old, throw it all at 713. Considerable interest in its energy technically generated advancement progressing rapid reverse maintaining dominance in the US military to invest the DoD's advancement in the AI is the next breakthrough solution of a design human enhancement tech. Although the AT tech such exoskeleton and robotics and outer science fiction considerable area investment in DARPA's HE R&D advancement happening rapidly to social and battlefield exoskeleton physical around the game providing seamless access to sensing quantum enhancement and resilient so it's be integral to US military dominance. The US military needs to develop HE tech establishing the amount of funding provided by the DoD to research into the DARPA and letting Trump have a strong military is dangerous and ensures bad policy and terror. This act's not about hegemony or military being bad, rather we do with the leaders. So overall militarism can't have diplomacy allies. These may catch word. Call 17. Left and correct, the emerging charge will result in war. Trump's embraced military escalation, deploying reports that moving as they feel closer to the US military target much lower rate and acceptable level collateral damage to be higher. Trump's absence of military escalation carries the real danger to produce, defeat a certain civil chaos to undermine counter-terror. The US benefit in notion that does not kill innocents as this becomes widespread to shift the race and trajectory to higher size 2.0 looking to rival the administration. Plans to rebuild cities. The administration lacks in support diplomatic assistance plans following the US military can increase the pace of local actors resulting in deep US involvement. The only simple outcome in Iraq, Syria, Yemen, and one first local force proof holding government Trump sinking deeper into the Middle East, Pakistan, and citing regional blowback and the sites not a path sustainably America's enemy hegemony is unsustainable. Syria, the Egypt coup reliance on drones only my evidence takes to counter venture sales 16 and the new presidency Colombo 17. U.S. had herself power endangered before Trump deterred serious mistake the pains of the country and facility. The U.S. groups to be not up to speed to serious the proven capitulation coming using vexing U.S. policy American size of the military to it destroys the blind no denying the U.S. to stretch apart the military to the global involvement in the U.S. become too much of a burden and is unsustainable and choosing to embrace inevitable decline all share peace and stability fighting for what we can't get makes violent conflict inevitable. 11. Facing decline, America becomes terms of reality or set their face against reality coming. America decline. The U.S. can embrace manage decline. Clear the way for return to the alternative involves a selection conflict. The U.S. lacks the resource to cater and offshore balancing the imperial keep better retaining U.S. power, conserving resources, and resolving interstate dispute and challenging terrorism attempts to pursue hegemony have been failing, leads to prolonged conflict and terrorism. Your Strong 116. Offshore balancing will preserve U.S. supremacy far into the future. There is no hegemon. There's no reason to play too many years to dominate Washington. See it coming. Respond regional parts of far greater interest preventing. See predominating offshore balance will also reduce the risk of terrorism, hegemons interfering with local regions, foster nationalism, and independence from terrorism. During the 19th century, the U.S. had great power shift one another intervening only balance of power broke down after balancing off Raleigh squadron research to allow the government to invest more in the long-term creating power prosperity. The U.S. stayed out of Russian Japanese war line or avoid the Green Poland and eventually constructed hegemony fell stop any Pakistan rapid nuclear capabilities countries that bomb could the Cuba inside the U.S. So regime change only behind this concern. Scenario 1 is free riders the perception of U.S. military aggressiveness sees allies to shift political military burdens onto the U.S. release armed conflict Russia and China prevents international cooperation makes global war inevitable. 13. U.S. parts have been able to strengthen their military structure to defense of Washington. The U.S. is to bear the burden of peace, U.S. security encourages also powerful sees conflict the watching will see this exist, cause the use and corrupt political cause and tactics and power to use make a hurt for walking cooperate the response from the use and call for torture to marginalized Syrian scenario to a terror call and mere trying to provide the internal links terrorism culminates in U.S.-Russia war that caused the extinction of Article 13. War involving U.S. and Russia could lead to the extinction of nuclear broker by false and nuclear attacks, terrorist groups might cause attacks that result in nuclear attacks, exploding a slow nuclear bomb. Al-Qaeda is thought to obtain nuclear weapons and use them. Other events can involve in sensitive circumvention and control shape or explode full security, making both nations disrupt events and attacks independently. Heads, turn your head to good impacts that create power gaps on race, pro-left, and bulwark wars that escalate for 2014. Humanity has been rapidly growing, has to struggle with the international balance of power countries looking forward to develop these squadron lobby racing against each other. The result, they had arms race, policy implementation is deadly consequence trying to racial lights and work with peace potential. Threats to national security creating a check open control of potential proliferation target towards terrorism, military, and those countries as high as strategy, which stress like these few countries are. The want to implement heads create after their gaps within the military power and the power of countries with heads developing a head trigger security dilemma underview. Prefer you till most interest in heads is due to desire to create infinite happiness. Spot 13. Decentralized use to make one's life a whole better human enhancement, high level well-being is a certain vital enhancement, technically and general advantage, supporting their ability to scale this enhancement, high people happiness, eventually resulting in greater achievement of well-being enhancement, taking this possibility of having more control over emotional state enhancement, moving power again against your biological desperation and qualities. The question concerning that well-being is and what it constitutes still needs to be clarified and put away the happy people to that experiencing negative emotions empirically verified to lead to true well-being for trigger 13. Positive emotions taken to extreme self improvement real life people become complacent, you know, conclusion emphasis sense of meeting the requires confronting the lives adversities and pleasant people just control the endurable ones helping you make sense of that team, good out the bad together, reject talks to be bad experience, long use to make meaning out of the waves for psychological well-being research found negative emotion either so our life beats can be vital tools of health. Issue relating to other important matters need attention. Those who restrain their thinking more often have the stronger stress response to the cues and those who suppress their thoughts less frequently. I won't read all the analytics on the bottom. Everything else was read.
Sorry, what was read again?
Everything but the analytics on the bottom.
Okay, it's not gonna be relevant. Right, it's just theory preempts.
Yeah.
Cool. 1 second. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
So let's go to the eugenics advantage. This seems to assume like a future technology that creates the. So when is the brink? When does this divide happen between the rich and the poor? Does your evidence isolate a certain time that it happens?
Sure. We'd argue there's already some form of divide between the rich and the poor.
Which evidence indicates that divide is happening now?
I mean, I think it's pretty clear that there's a wealth gap. We don't all have the same amount.
Wait,
of
so
money.
there is a wealth gap happening now. Why does the or why does the
because
resolution?
Because it's
lead
a
to
linear
more?
impact, not a brink impact. One, we'd say that increasing the gap or leading to more like sexism,
Sure.
racism, etc. is
Okay,
itself a harm under
that's
the
fine.
framework. However, do you want me to finish answering?
No, I have a separate question. Why does rising inequality lead to likelihood of conflict?
Sure, that's the Stewart 2 card. It uses an empirical analysis where it sees that the more inequality a certain country has, the more likely there are to be societal tensions.
That
civil
seems to
unrest,
also
war,
it seems to
etc.
also talk about how that's due to like weak political structures. That's due to other alternate causes. How does your evidence take those into account?
Sure. My argument is not that
Or like
this
environmental
is the root.
poverty and resource
I think I think environmental poverty will in part be exacerbated by human enhancement technology because certain people will not be able to access ways to escape that to like mitigate those
Okay.
impacts or escape that
That's
poverty.
fine. The second call for 5 card, this indicates that Trump having a strong military is dangerous. Has there been a war yet since he came to power?
No, but we'd argue that's because there has not been a current development of super soldiers. The first card indicates that we're on the brink right now.
Wait, so why does the development of super soldiers currently, where's the brink, like, where's the brink analyzed in terms of...
Sure, the Thorpe card, which came out about a week ago, indicates that there's rising funding from the DoD to DARPA for super soldier technology. This is things that would increase resilience and more far.
I'm asking for the line of the evidence that indicates the brink. Doesn't seem to have a brink analyzed in the evidence.
There's no line in the
Cool,
card that's like when
fine.
we have X
Separate
amount
question.
of like heads on soldiers.
Alright, separate question. Quinn 11. This is from 6 years ago. How is this even like how is this a good account of international relations in the status quo?
Sure, great question. This card just says that if there is hegemonic decline, struggling against it will just make matters worse. Colombo 17 is the card that says that hegemony is declining the status quo.
Okay, that's fine. The free riders argument posed in 13. How does this argument... So, first of all, do you have any evidence in the app saying that if the U.S. was to retrench, that the people who are free riding right now would be capable of defending themselves?
Yeah, Mearsheimer and Walt 16, somewhere in the middle of the card, it talks about how local agents are A, more capable and B, more motivated to take care of any kind of conflict that comes up.
Mearsheimer and Walt
them.
16 seem to be indicating that like offshore balancing is a good idea.
Yeah.
Where does it make the claim that free riders would be capable of like defending themselves?
Right, that's the explanation. Do you want me to keep going?
I just want to know what part of the card makes that analysis.
Right, that's the explanation I just gave. Offshore balancing means we withdraw our military to a certain extent, and we allow regional actors, i.e. these free riders, to have more control. The argument in the card is that they are more motivated to control local actors, especially if we're not there, and they're also more capable because they know the situation better, they have more ties, and it's in their own self-interest to figure out how to solve it, whereas we're a lot more removed.
Wait, sorry, could you re-explain that?
Sure. Middle of Mearsheimer wall indicates that these free riders are A, more capable, and B, more incentivized to take care of any threats that are nearby should we pursue offshore balancing, because they know the situation around them better. They have more immediate incentive because they're in the area. They have more ties to people around them, which means they'd be a lot better at resolving anything that comes up near them, whereas like we're more remote.
That's fine.
Alright, so as the negative is taking his prep, if you all have any questions for the affirmative debater, like a question about the advantages, the cards that were read, maybe why they read some of these cards or these arguments, now is the time to ask. Anything that you all missed, so for example, some of you walked in late, maybe you'd like to know what the general idea of the app is.
I'm here to support Emmiee.
Alright.
Thank you. Hey, Priya.
Do you personally think hedge is good?
I think hegemony is bad and should be opposed in all instances.
Good. I was testing you.
Okay, 207. Orders 206. Orders of eugenics, then hedge. Very excited.
I'm ready.
Alright. Everyone good? Vaccines are enhancements. They artificially improve your immune system. LA1 vaccines are obviously made in the right result in your immune system. Artificially enhance provide you with better health. And vaccines are preventive. They don't treat disease. They're not theoretically harmful. Some vaccines are not theoretically preventive, which better immunize 100 people when you stop them from starting to more. Antibiotic resistance cause 6 example. 30 vaccine resistance by disease to figure national emergency critical terrorist act that drive from obstruction resistant to antibiotics associated that you should be out of the rest of the emergency. You just got to have to break people to averaging 30 because we run antibiotic reports and direction of susceptible infections. Leading to the straits of can avoid stop if we don't have we're going to serious trouble extinction. Quam and 12 disease all around the pathogen can be 18 into people. Move the reverse influence of separate globally there is the possibility that be outbreak and average populations of collapse disease. This always 8 points that your defense assumes good infrastructure, which is why you end up removing the B points probability because will over especially likely, considering that there's an increase in her populations recently. Second off, text counterfeit result. The United States federal government should develop your enhancement technology, including neuropharmacology, brain simulation, brain computer interface, and degradation technology. This is crucial to modern warfare. Solves current disadvantage and hedge description. 14 current evidence seem to be forensic and resolution increase alertness, reduce able warfare, or helps handle advertisements, VCI, and neuroplastic potentially dog control weapon systems, enhanced technology to commit all the piece on new method, which can enable better the effects of trading narcolepsy and sleep or server potentially to more aggressive athletic solutions, use CMS or as only where to go, potentially going to be second weapons that the universe soldiers better in the battle space, remotely controlling enemy system for better situation, also improve threat detection, identification accuracy, as well as essentially reduce response time soldiers, may also be solidly and efficiently and communicate with each other by just thinking, you know, I sense, could improve existing weapons and methods of warfare. New weapons are intended to influence, right, weaken, separate, or neutralize human thought. By completion, should be used for permanently anniversaries and trusting us. Any power that can master mind control technology would have to be far greater advantage than simply having to accelerate developments in neurosecurity, Christian 14-year security, and your considering problem you will use applications have to be taken to actively advance against future attacks by adversaries when neuro weapons, your neuro defense detection deterrence, reaction, and adaptation requires the ability to actively deter attacks for one reaction. If I can do adaptation to new weapons by taking extended protective measures. Now the case first is a weighing argument. First, moral certainty means we give shit about moral certainty. If we are several other means that you're not observing future existence defense. You prefer high scale impact. 8 point is that outweighs. There's always some value to life and low revenue. So life, even people aren't sliced. Can find ways people reversibility. Extinction prevents access to pleasure in the first place. C point is that you're sure impact because if there was extinction to happen or if a large scale impact was to happen, then the low minorities would end up being affected in the first place. Now the standard concede the standard top level versus the eugenics advantage. One is that giving people the option to save a life is in eugenics that was forced upon people in the past, which is what your impact evidence analyzed. Second is that production definitely solves it. 8 points economies of scale as firms start to produce more and more of a certain good, then that leads to less cost for the firm because they end up transitioning into long-term production. The B point is that companies have instead of develop and compete, especially if it's key and new technology. The C point is that governments can end up subsidizing, which also decreases cost, which means they can end up being accessible to anyone. 3 is that impact defense. 8 point is time frame to get to speciesism or to get to divide. That will take a really long time. And intervening methods and alternatives also make them definitely check back in your time. Also, there's no impact because there are alternate causes. For example, environmental poverty, resource rich, and weak political structures, which the absence of result. Now, hegemony first. Hegemony is good. He to check Russia, Chinese, and Iran for revision of empiric truth. Necessarily interhedge, Brexit, element. Something intimately impossible no longer research in China. Periphery growing fiction from China, North Korea, and the chaos Middle East. This kind of polarity, friendly, is that American flag is global leaders to the single challenge for remains accelerated amongst the Americans who are spreading war. Western parts remain tied to America. The United States still has substantial economic advantages in defense spending. Also remains one of the 3 that of channel level to command. The global company great power competition standard has a program working with U.S. alliance and primary Chinese portion has dramatically increased war military, researching Russian geopolitical provisions as well as the Middle East, and U.S. leaders prevents great power war. BIW 13 engagement gives leverage for same purpose for less committed sir. States from Spain and focus multiple great power war Israel Egypt and Saudi Arabia takes one action punishment that wins that security so reaction for assassin and even states are secure engaged and but disability for changes never goes up the risk of actions go over hegemony also exchange of air 11 as starting globalization the military between humans left the world not instead of repeating everything by ensuring perfect great power war you introduce human rights liberation will be the life is temporal increase in GDP and profound reduction in conflicts cut the cardiac conflicts in American retreat magnifies risk of hostile aggression collapses benefits little order French 17 American retreat nationally means that advance of power hostile American interest and hostile international here thinks that Trump is on his way to restoring American sense here analysis is fundamentally flawed and administration has to refer to NATO to accelerate the fight against ISIS and other Islamic jihadists and force Obama's red line rush missile defense batteries to South Korea and every certainly important area America step back if the United States retreats and America is indispensable to the preservation of international order that has kept peace now China first the Chinese rises hostile seeking to supplant U.S. power rejecting effective application of privacy is key to pause deter possible power war as Talis 425 can only accomplish zero grown territorial speed and global transnational territory persist rise of decades over the success of the Chinese military trust and attachment global Beijing obsessed and effective counter coordination ability accuracy maritime facilities some sort of naval presence in the western hemisphere Beijing is very far beyond the Asian homelands China is heavily moving from beyond from merely a reasonable power to global 1-2 military objectives resulting in sensible helping and use of China war escalates extinction relaunch 13 because of time when the countries could be drawn in a wealthy countries will call it yes my sheet is sorry people to translate the course of power is based on a reasonable assumption that the US has perfect intelligence the US cannot have confidence on destroying Chinese weapons now next is Trump first Trump doesn't destroy hedges unpredictability in nature is affected that Jacobson 17 Trump's aggressive statements and practice behavior will most likely stranded security strong unless it's a rebel spread from the supplement recently making military and necessarily effective and Trump doesn't record turns theory proves he saves it back or skip that card Trump doesn't chase US security still the largest majority 6-2 there's frantic desire to see declines in US power because people elected Donald Trump where will protect US military in reality that the US provides security military within Russian domination and OSP creates economic stagnation and misunderstanding allies would react with withdrawal shocky 70 to the more only mental because Washington has sustained a high level of commitment to liberal hegemony or American power to just that after balancing by contrast would offer you benefits to after balancing to forget US allies which are true strategies that allow the American interest they have APs aggression instead of thinking about Philippines next recent talk with start trying to see now the line by line first the Trump argument one is that war hasn't happened yet which proves that nothing ends up happening there are no brink evidence isolated there analysis at top 2 that doesn't count for advisors which definitely check back for Trump for example which is isolated by our evidence that's Charles 16 dependent on what he wins Trump attacked you to give it to senior for both hands and a perfect logic and scholarly research very likely to rely heavily on the council's advisors influence of his purple consequences will be significant, and the Colombo evidence they say hedge is unsustainable. But the Syria war was, or the Syria intervention was necessary because they had chemical weapons. Also, engaging the coup in Egypt triggers a larger war. Also, there's no impact of drones. Still, India, the Quinn evidence too old. Probably shouldn't prefer it. It's not recent. The Mearsheimer evidence one. That's still OSP still a form of hegemony, and also it doesn't make anything about it other than they claim OSP right now. Also, call for the guard. They aren't capable. We form allies. When we withdraw, that means that allies won't have the capability to end up doing anything. Finally, the post evidence they say free riding, but free riding is necessary. Other than countries alone can't do. Subdivisions that you want to see evidence. That's the want to see evidence because otherwise countries cannot end up accessing themselves. Also, the want to see evidence serves as a terminal hijack to the terrorism link.
Merck's speech doc.
Yeah. Set.
Alright, I'll tell you when it's open.
Sure.
Okay. Let's go on to the first disad. Your cards about antibiotic resistance are from 2013. When are we gonna have a pathogen? Like, what's the time frame for when we're gonna have this pathogen, absent like updated vaccines?
First of all, it doesn't. I don't think it really matters the fact that it's from 2013. The fact still stands true for why antibiotic-resistant diseases can end up causing extinction. The reason that it hasn't happened yet, the reason that it hasn't happened yet is because of things like vaccines and infrastructure that we've had.
Alright, where did you read evidence indicating that we're like coming out with like new vaccines, or we're currently like increasing funding in that area or maintaining it?
Maintaining like new vaccines to stop new antibiotic diseases?
Yeah.
First of all, I think that's a pretty intuitive thing. There are obviously pharmaceutical companies right now and multiple other like health systems that are developing new vaccines. I don't think that we just stop with developing one vaccines and not modifying it to stop new antibiotic resistant diseases. Seems pretty obvious.
Alright, for the counter plan, your cards are from like 2014. Where do you assume for like Trump's specific style of leadership, or like the way in which Trump carries out, I guess like.
I think all of the answers on case prove why the way that Trump carries out, like his thing does not really have that big of an effect.
All your answers on case are also several years old. Where do you have like any evidence that all the cards read on case are also several years old?
No, they're like from 2017. Most of them. That's pretty recent. It's this year.
Alright, sure. What is neurosecurity? Why neurosecurity specifically?
Neurosecurity, it isolates things like neuropharmacology, brain stimulation, brain-computer interfaces, and degradation technologies. This is created as the new kind of modern warfare. What it means is the simple explanation of it is mind control. And how that is being developed right now. For example, in neuropharmacology, the card goes into talking about how you create better computer models that are based on new methods of neuroimaging, which can enable research to better predict the effect of certain drugs on the brain. So they talk about like one drug, modafinil, which is good at treating narcolepsy and sleep disorders, which makes super soldiers super effective. Also talks about brain stimulation and how researchers have used like TMS and stuff for stimulating the motor cortex, which boosts mental states of soldiers, boosting alertness and relieving pain from illnesses. It also talks about the potential advantage of brain-computer interfaces.
Your hedge sustainable card, what's the... Okay, I see the date. For hegemony's...
The last one.
Yeah, never mind, it was on the site.
Yeah.
Where do you answer offshore balancing specifically? Or, I guess, no, better question, where do you answer, like, the specific warrants of Walt and Mearsheimer?
I think that I do that on the case.
Yeah, I see like on the case, I see like a card with maybe 2 lines in it. Where do you answer the specificity
No,
of like?
that's a lot more than 2 lines, but I also did line by line on the case. I can go through those arguments if you'd like.
It's alright. 4 minutes starting now.
Like there were 4 or 5 arguments made against it, and for also why OSB doesn't make sense in this context.
What was the argument for why offshore balancing wouldn't apply?
OSB doesn't apply because, first of all, the app is not a. First of all, OSB is a form of hegemony. It's simply like a retrenched form of hegemony, which means that all our arguments still apply. So it seems to be somewhat of a double turn with that. Second is that it doesn't make anything other than. So you made a lot of claims in the last CX about how the Mearsheimer and Walt card makes a lot of other claims other than just OSB being a good idea. And also, we made an argument for why allies are not capable. That's indicated by our Eurasia analysis, which is done in the Brooks, Eikenberry, and Wolford evidence, which indicates like certain empirics, like the 1984 Balkan Wars. It also talks about how currently the United States is the only one with massive military spending, which is able to offset any security threat around the regions. Even the second largest economy in the world, military spending is nowhere close to that, which means that they're also incapable. So there's a lot of 1 and C cards that also interact with the Mearsheimer evidence. Obviously, I'm allowed to do that comparison to the 2 and C. Also, there's statistical comparison done, but that's other.
Alright, one card that's being sent right now. Case starting on the underview. Then top down, counter plan, vaccines this side. Everyone good?
Wait, sorry, what's the order?
Ask starting on the end of you, and then top down. Vaccines, then counterplan, then vaccines. Everyone's good?
First on the underview, expand SPAT-15, indicating that heads are created to create an infinite happy pill, and that's the way in which we're going. The Rodriguez 13 card when completely conceded indicated that an ultimate happy pill leads to no possibility of well-being now or in the future, because we need negative emotion to access that form of well-being and to achieve eudaimonia and have something worthwhile and issue, which is something that heads are going to ultimately prevent. This was totally conceded as the greatest link to the util framework, because A subpoint prevents any form of well-being in the future, and right now B subpoint, even if he does extend Boschman specific to an instance where there is uncertainty over a claim, however, it was cold conceded, so there's no uncertainty. So this can come first. Now on top down first, on the framing, whatever, I'll concede impact to extinction as well. On eugenics, I'll concede the no link for the economies of scale. There's no offense on the flow. And even if there was, it doesn't matter because there's no more link anymore. On the line by line group, all the hedge good arguments first. Onto weighing the terror ones on time frame, because there's terrorist attacks now they're getting worse and worse, and Trump is fucking up with the Middle East right now, so we need a withdrawal trial. You also conceded the blowback argument, which is going to be done before the line by line, which makes all of your impacts inevitable because it creates the power gap that you're indicting. The all of this was cold conceded, so give it 100% probability and 100% impact is the also 100% on time frame. You and no new in the 2 for this, because that could have been in the 1 and T group. The hedge good arguments first. You can first the Colombo 17 indicates it's not sustainable sites drones, things like the military coup, etc. Regardless of whether they're necessary or not, they made the U.S. look dumb as shit, which means that no one wants to listen to us anymore. 2, you conceded the Quinn card, which indicates that trying to struggle against it if it's going down right now, which you conceded is leads to a worse collapse because it gets into wars that we cannot defend ourselves against. So try or die for the F3. You conceded that. 3, you conceded I can't read my handwriting. 4, you conceded offshore ballot. 16, which indicates which I will do further on the line by line. You conceded, and then you extended Rodriguez 16, indicating that it's the blowback argument that not everyone has the capabilities to develop the same amount of heads, which causes a great power imbalance because certain countries will be above others. They'll shake up the order. Also, that will lead to an arms race, including countries like China, which takes out the impact. Will also lead to countries leading preemptive warfare, which outweighs because it happens immediately. You're 6, all your evidence is old, mine is weak. So you assume Obama 7, you assume a quick pullout, whereas ours will be slow. You say transition, this is going to be answered. The unsustainable argument is try or die. It's going down now, so transition is inevitable. You say China. McCarty answered this better. It indicates that we're going to get into an arms war with China during human enhancement technology. Anyways, too, the terror card is also specific to China. It wins on time frame because terrorists are trying to get it right now, whereas China is not trying to start war right now. The offshore balancing would be better because local actors would have more incentive and would be better capable to check China. That was in a cross-ex. You say war won't happen because of Trump, because he's unpredictable advisors, etc. This is assume a lot of recent stuff like that. Shit going down with North Korea, like when he says he won't attack Syria and he does, that makes us look really bad, and now countries realize that he's not trustworthy. You made a bunch of arguments as to why Syria, etc. was necessary. The argument is not whether it's necessary or not, it's whether it affected our hegemony or not, which goes down. You say but you answered free riders. I won't go for free riders. You say offshore balancing is bad. No, offshore balancing is good, even if it's a form of hegemony. Transitioning to offshore balance like we're doing right now is the best way to solve that was done. But you say it's sustainable. However, this card does assume a lot of things that have happened recently, which was done earlier on to the counterplan one perms. You both not mutually exclusive to the all your evidence is old, so it should trigger already. And the hedge debate should have taken this out onto the had one case that weighs there. No chance of vaccines. Your evidence is old. There's no. You were not able to provide a time frame in cross-ex. Also, massive war would lead to lack of medicine, which would trigger the impact anyways. And disease won't cause extinction. Burnout, radiation, door 14. System drive suspicious entirely contagious to burn themselves. The main reason for radiation is the whole species naturally resistant. You end up with infect individuals to return to contamination as a password for rather the whole population. Also, you don't have any evidence indicating that there's vaccine research being on right now. Healthcare is being cut. Also, antibiotic resistance is going around, going up right now, which takes it out.
Do I have to take prep on my sweatshirt?
No.
It's really cool.
Alright, it's the same question as before. If you have any questions for me about the 1AR, the strategy, the arguments that were said, anything at all, this is a good time to ask. Yeah?
I was confused with the argument with the happiness pill, like how it works.
HETs will be used. Human enhancement technology will be used to create like the infinite happiness pool.
Okay.
However, that's bad because we need to experience some form of negative emotion in order to truly understand like well-being or to understand what true happiness is.
If everyone's happy, why is that a bad impact under utility?
Because so first of all, the standards of well-being, not just happiness. Too, there's a difference. Like being on heroin all the time would technically make you happy, but that wouldn't lead you to achieve the things you wanted to achieve. That wouldn't let you to experience like the full spectrum of human emotion or to understand how to like navigate certain like feelings you may feel, etc.
So I just want to make sure I don't concede anything. We just go through these 8 arguments that you made against the top level of the hedge.
Alright.
Just like quickly.
Weighing, Colombo, it's not sustainable.
What was the weighing argument?
The weighing argument, there was a time frame argument onto terror about how terrorists are trying to, I guess, like attack now, and U.S. military involvement leads to more recruitment.
Second was Colombo, third was Quinn.
Yeah.
Fourth was...
I can't read my own handwriting.
Okay,
5 was offshore balancing is better. 6 was the Rodriguez 13 blowback argument.
About HETs and arms races?
Yeah.
Okay, next argument.
Your evidence is, most of your evidence is old, assumes Obama, not Trump. And the last one was that your evidence assumes a quick pullout as opposed to a slow transition.
Okay. Overview. Vaccines, dissed. Counterplan, and then hedge. Can I get the...
Oh yeah, sorry.
Okay. Everyone good?
Wait, what's the order?
Overview, vaccines, neurotech counterplan, hedge.
Okay.
Everyone go? Everyone good? You cannot go for a source of Athens after conceding multiple weighing arguments that isolate that extinction is the biggest impact. And the one to see, for example, the reversibility arguments, which indicates that extinction is a non-reversible impact, which means that it affects us no matter what we end up doing, which means that that's also a reason why you do not evaluate the happy people test. Also, here are a couple of other arguments. First is scope of impact. In fact, a large scope of people is more imminent, whereas the absent impact can be solved by interviewed actors. So second is that causes the interlink war, causes structural balance in the long run, which means that it leads to deterioration of feelings because wars and institutions collapse and rights protections are made harder. Also, strengthen the link. If we had a defense and their impact, that means that you compare martial defense against ours, and you should prefer the impact. You should prefer the war impacts. Finally, not going for the vaccine since I can see defense. But now the viewer technology counterplan first is that the permutation doesn't make any sense because it definitely is mutually exclusive with the entirety of the counterplan. Literally, it says in the card itself that viewer technology it isolates a couple of different factors. For example, in neuropharmacology and different types of brain-computer interfaces, which are all examples of enhancement technologies, which means that the permutation is literally incoherent and links you back into the entire criticism of hegemony. Second is that then it's that they end up making is that the hedge debate ends up turning this. Obviously doesn't, because if we win that our counterplan is necessary to solve back the disadvantages that hedge might have in the status quo. That means that it accelerates good hedge, which is definitely sufficient to solve back a lot of other impacts. And now that analysis will also be done on the hedge debate in the app. Now, also quick extension. Look, the counterplan embraces new types of technology, such as technologies that basically allow you to control the mind and engage in deterioration technologies. You are able to deteriorate other actors, and you're able to get into their minds and be able to confuse them. That is all present in the 1 and C. There's not a solvency deficit read, which means that the counterplan solves 100%. That's also key to modern warfare that is better than nuclear weapons. That analysis is all done under evidence. Call for the cards. The hedge debate. The 1 year was very blippy on this debate, which means that we will get through multiple different issues, which will allow you to easily vote negative on the hedge debate. First is that a couple of overview arguments. First is this will consolidate the Trump issue for you. Trump is definitely will not wreck U.S. hegemony. The Jacobson-17 evidence that we indicate that we first indicate the argument that we end up making is that Trump's aggressive statements and erratic behavior and his unpredictability is actually a good thing because that means that other actors are forced to constrain themselves and they won't end up doing bad things in the future because they are more cautious with an irrational leader. Second is that Trump hasn't changed anything in the status quo, and the U.S. is still the largest military, which means that Trump, in the status quo, literally has not eroded anything within military hegemony. This evidence is also from a month ago. It's fire on this issue, which indicates that there's no blowback that ends up happening. Also, finally, is that Trump does not have an effect on Trump does not have that big an effect because advisors are able to check back anything that he ends up doing. For example, General Mattis he's hired 2 very, very good generals that are able to take into account multiple different issues, and they're able to think about good international security issues through those different issues. Now, the top level of the impacts going for the VBI17 is absolutely great. First is that it takes care of 2 issues. First is this entire claim that allies will be able to defend themselves if we end up retrenching. There's an absence of states that are able to put these policies into practice and to place consistently. For example, regional expertise, there's a large doubt that European governments will pay costs of increased EU defense cooperation and military budgets. For example, in the Middle East, the U.S. withdrew from Israel, Egypt, Saudi Arabia. Their actions could intensify security dilemmas. And also, another example that also analyzes the 1990 Balkan Wars, which was an example of the U.S. literally withdrawing, and that led to war abroad. Now we will now the line by line on each of the arguments against the line by line against each of the 1 year arguments. First is the Wayne Garvey saying time frame, and that terrorists are trying to attack us right now. You have conceded want to see evidence which indicates that U.S. hegemony is key to constrain actors and key to constrain terrorists that operate within a hegemonic world. That is the bottom. That is the one evidence that we read at the very bottom, which indicates that the reason that terrorists don't want to engage with the hegemonic because they know they will literally be shot back if they end up doing anything. The next argument that I am making is this Colombo argument saying that it proves that it's not sustainable and that it makes the U.S. look dumb as shit. You conceded 2 arguments that indicate that show that it is sustainable. First, the Jervis evidence that we end up reading, which is hedge, is sustainable in international relations and stability. Also, the VIW evidence indicates that military spending, the monetary goals, is not that much, especially considering that recently the U.S. has increased its military budget and defense spending, which proves that there's no impact of that. Second, the next argument that I end up going for, is the Quinn evidence saying that if hegemony is decreasing right now, that will lead to bad things if we try to engage with war. Since it's from 2011, you conceded that argument, which means it's literally not. It's way too old enough to describe how hegemony operates right now. U.S. is still the largest hegemonic, considering that they're the largest economic power. They also control all transnational markets, and they're literally have the best advanced technology. If anything, the New York Technology Capital Plan puts them on top because it gives them advanced technology, which literally has never existed before, and gives them a huge foot ahead on being able to engage with others. Finally, the OSP argument, they say OSP is better. You conceded the OSP index, which is the Doherty evidence from the 1C, which indicates that Trump hasn't changed, or sorry, which is the Miller, the OSP evidence. This is the Shaky 17 evidence that we end up reading, which says that OSP creates economic stagnation, misunderstands the way the allies would react to a U.S. withdrawal, which is the analysis done above. Finally, the next argument that they end up making is that not everyone has capability to develop some HETs. Yes, our argument is that if the U.S. is able to develop HETs, isn't that better? Because we say U.S. hegemony is good. There's also no terminal impact. It's isolated to this argument. Next is that they say that preemptive warfare. Warfare outweighs, and it happens immediately, and it assumes Obama, not Trump. Not true. All our cards assume Trump. They're all from 2017. Also, we have read multiple lines of defense against Trump, which means that you have to win that argument. Also, finally, they say we assume a quick pull out rather than a slow transition. You would not verify that the app is a slow transition, considering that we have conceded 100% solvency of the app. Now, going for the conceded China war impact versus the French evidence, which indicates that transition wars will happen. Syria, Iraq, and genocides. They say transition. They say if we transition, we will get into an arms race with China. But our argument is that the counterplan generates uniqueness on this issue because we literally get access to a new weapon that China is not able to counterbalance. Also, even if that does happen, we develop your security, which is the second card that we read in the counterplan, which is able to solve back for that. This also outweighs because it is another war that ends up happening, and you also can see the TELUS evidence, which indicates that Chinese rise is absolutely hostile and leads to even worse impacts.
5 seconds of prep.
Counter plan case. Is everyone good?
for some reason hedge bad doesn't interact with it. Obviously it does. The entire hedge contention is about why super soldiers is bad onto case. You really fucked up by conceding the McCarty evidence is the blowback evidence and it functions independently of hegemony. It's not an argument for hegemony is bad, rather it's an argument for hedge. Backfire several warrants in here for one is this asymmetrical warfare which you brought up in which you not only which you completely conceded when you went for China because you said that it's a technology that China won't have. Yes, that's the fucking point. The fact that they see that we have something we don't have is what causes the war between the US and China because they feel threatened and they want to attack, which means I went on the time frame for this. Even if you do win an eventual war with China, but also with a bunch of other countries that should outweigh on magnitude, which you have also conceded. The McCarty evidence also talks about how this will lead to the power gaps that all of your evidence depends on, because right now we have a certain international scale of power relations. However, some countries are more technologically advanced than others, so when we turn it into a game of technology as opposed to a game of brute force, they power order gets all fucked up and there's a bunch of power vacuums that everyone's going to be fighting over. I'm not going to the case proper. You say Trump. I'm not going to go for Trump bad. Your arguments were defensive. You just said Trump doesn't make things better or worse. The Colombo card is fired. It's not only in the context of Trump, it's in the context of all things that Obama did. For example, the Egyptian coup that we didn't, that we said was bad and then refused to get involved with. The whole issue with the foreign drones hurting civilians. These all make the U.S. look weak and like they don't know what they're doing. This is what wrecked U.S. hegemony. Even if Trump is a neutral force, the next thing you say is that something about how you make terror better. There was literally never in the speech doc. You should call for it. Next you go for this BI. Next you say hegemony is sustainable. However, that was is a point that was answered above all your arguments related on Trump. The BIW card is old. You also it's not specific to the U.S. Next you indict Coin for being 2011. The Colombo card is from 2017. That's the uniqueness. Coin just says that if hegemony is going down, we ought to go with it, or at least to something worse, which is another weighing argument. You say your only answer to offshore balancing is economic struggle. However, there's literally no impact to economic stagnation. Next, offshore balancing will be a lot better, especially in the context of China, because you can see the regional actors a lot more motivated and will be a lot better at pushing it back on China. There's literally not a single response to this. You say U.S. hedge is good as an answer to blowback. One, this is new in the 2-2. Even if U.S. hedge is good, the argument is that it would lead to immediate war. This is not a hedge bad argument. It functions independently of that. You go for this BIW argument. However, again, this assumes that quick pull out the app would obviously be slow because it would be going along with the squall onto China. The McCarty evidence has already been done to answer this. You was considered offshore balancing is better, which should answer all of that. Look, literally nothing else was responded to on the flow. This McCarty evidence is damning for you. You should probably have answered it. There was literally not a single response in 2-1R. Yeah.
Emmiee!